Hello my friends and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. There are a lot of mass protests in Europe and especially in Czech Republic and Germany. And there are anti-government and anti-sanctions protests, and obviously they demand a better standard of living, and basically they want to have a better life. Now the government obviously made some decisions that decreases their standard of living, make it a little bit worse and more painful. Now I have an article coming from Chisinau, which is the capital of the Republic of Moldova, and there are a lot of mass protests in Chisinau. Again, the same entity, which is the government against the Moldovan government. The difference between the protests in Moldova and the ones in, let's say, Germany or Czech Republic or Slovakia is that there's a big Russian minority in Moldova. Moldova, as you probably know, is next to Ukraine, and as also you know, Ukraine is at war with Russia. So it could be not a coincidence that these mass protests are increasing in the Republic of Moldova, if you know what I mean. So let's see, this article comes from Sputnik and it's from today, the 9th of October 2022. Anti-government protesters take to the streets in Moldova's Chisinau. Chisinau being the capital. Demonstrations against the government in Moldova have been going on for more than a month, with protesters demanding the resignation of President Maia Sandu and early elections as the economic and energy crisis worsens because of rising energy prices. Now, Maia Sandu is when I say pro-Western, think about them being placed over there with the help of the West. Don't think of them as being, you're pro-life or, you're pro, love and happiness. No, there's interests who put you over there to do their bidding. So when you hear, oh, he's a pro-Western government, it's not that they have sympathy and they like the ideas of the West. It's not that. They were helped, they were channeled. Some doors were opened for these people. That's how it works in the real world. So if they tell you something else, they are just lying. So Sputnik comes live from Moldova's capital Chisinau as protesters rally against the government, accusing it of mismanagement and inertia in the face of rampant inflation and the soaring cost of living. Now, the country is experiencing a grave economic and energy crisis because of rising prices and rocketing inflation. In turn, probably skyrocketing. In turn, the authorities are making attempts to stock up on firewood, coal, and fuel oil. They're going to go back to the medieval times practices. Hit their houses with wood from the forest. In early August, the Moldovan energy regulator, ANRE, raised gas tariff for consumers from 18.62 to 23 Moldovan lei. Lei is a currency per cubic meter. So from 18.62 to 23. From $0.96 to $1.2 per 35.3 cubic feet, with inflation reaching 33.5% in mid-summer, its highest point in 20 years. And let me tell you this, I come from that area and I kind of know that kind of culture. Not the culture because, you see, there's a little bit slightly different cultures according to the territories or with the provinces. Let's say in Romania, which Moldova it's half of a Moldovan province that belonged to Romania, where Romanians live, let's put it this way. And they live in Moldova, Transylvania, let's say the lower, so-called, lower kingdom or old kingdom. And then you got some other little ones around I'm not going to mention. But it's definitely different kind of influences. from, historical influences on their culture. And these guys that I'm talking about, not all of them, but the main way of running their lives is someone needs to help me. Someone needs to intervene. And in this case, Maya Sandu and her clique is going to ask for help from the European Union, from the Americans, from NATO, from someone. It's not, you know what, let me do it on my own. It's not that philosophy. And in Romania the same way. There's some parts in Romania, and there's some culture, not all of them, there's some people who act the same way. When they are in trouble, they always, or a little bit in trouble, they always ask for someone else. Someone has to help me. The European Union, the foreign investors, if they would invest more. What about you? What do you do? What did you do for your country? What did you do for it? And then remember, these weasels, they think that those guys come to help. No, those guys do not come to help because they have a big heart and they share with you. No, they come over there to make a profit. They see their interest. And when they do that, they say, okay, my interest is because I'm an impotent people asking for this and that. And then those guys come to do what? To get some profit and influence. And once you have all the economy by those guys, you could be, as the Americans say about the Russian gas, you can be blackmailed. But it's okay because these guys do not have a country. Their country is just me. That's it. And whomever, I'm for sale. I'm for sale. Open the doors for me and I will do whatever you guys want me. Who's the higher bidder? So in the case of Moldova, it's not, I think it's also in this kind of culture, help me. Someone else needs to help me. And if someone comes and say, you know what, we do it on our own, we do it the way we can do it, they will say, oh well, it must be a right winger, you're gonna be this, you're gonna be that. They call you names. Why? Because the outsiders do not want you to succeed and be self-reliant. Because if you're self-reliant, then you can't be controlled. So obviously they have to have investments, they have to promote people who, after all, will say, oh, we wanna join the European Union. And once you get in the European Union, for instance, you're at their control legally. They will find a way. Like, let's say right now, Moldova is not part of NATO, is not part of the European Union, even though they wanna be. And if only because you wanna be, you're already in a different program, that means they have authority over you. And they start imposing, do this, do this, do this, do that. But you can say, you know what, I don't want to be with anybody. That's an impossibility. Because that means you're going to be North Korea, you're going to be Iran, maybe Venezuela. So the pariah of the world, you have to be with someone. Why? Because that someone is always bigger and it has to protect you, control you and dictate what you do. In this case, Maya Sandu joined again on the shitty economy that it has, the country, always, has the masters over there, and she begs the masters to come. They want to have NATO weapons, American weapons. Now they want European Union fast track joining over there. They think that if they go in those organizations, NATO and European Union, somehow the country will be stronger, the economy will improve, and someone else is going to work for them. They're going to be free money for everyone, and they're going to be dancing in the street. But on the same time, you're going to be a slave dancing in the street because they can cut off whatever they gave you. Yeah, your standard of living can increase a little bit here and there. Protection from those guys you might have, but then you are this guy's bitch. Let's put it this way. You want to do that? Yeah, because some people are like that. Think like that, act like that. So yeah, they have mass protest, and I think over there is just a territory that is a battlefield between Russians and the West. See who's gonna get it. And I assume that pretty soon Maya Sandu, this very liberal and loving of so-called Western values, she's gonna impose some martial law over there or something along that line, because that's how the profile fits for this kind of people. You want to see, and I know them very well, so they're gonna say, well, we have here the stabilization movements. We have the Russians try to take over here, and they activate their, whomever, and we have to make sure that our country does not disintegrate or turns into a civil war within our country. So therefore, we want to put a little bit of a, I don't know, martial law. All right, so shoot to kill and others after this curfew and so on. You'll see. It's going that way because in the name of freedom and democracy, we're going to have martial law. You can't make this up. You'll see. I will keep you posted on that one. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.